great having a class where every car is exactly the same.
One of the things about this particular class is that there's no room for error. The minute you make a mistake in this car, you're gone, you've lost it. To me, that's real racing, and it's not about checkbooks, it's about the ability. And some of the young guys in this class, it's fantastic. I love the fact that this class has been developed for Toyota to bring young New Zealand drivers through into the next best thing.
Probably the biggest competition is going to be Reid and Ryan Yardley, as well as Jack.
John Penny and Reid Harker will probably be the ones that will be challenging and hard to beat.
Obviously, I really want to win Rookie of the Year. That's my total goal.
We'd love to win the championship. That's our goal. But I think the whole class is pretty competitive.
Taupo is probably the most technical track we have on the calendar, seeing just how many turns there are. So there's always going to be a compromise.
There's a lot of places to pass on this track, which makes for great racing.
I really like these type of tracks. It's sort of a driver track. You've got to get every corner right to be quick.
Hi everyone, welcome to Season 4 of the Toyota Finance 86 Championship. I'm Sam McNeil, and this weekend we're at the Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo. The championship kicked off in November, supporting the V8 supercars at Pukekohe, and once again, the man to beat was Ash Blewett.
With 2 wins and a second place, Ash Blewett leads with 217 points. Reid Harker is on 184. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Ryan Yardley, is in third ahead of Michael Scott, who retained fourth place despite red flagging the final race with this spectacular crash.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was upside down very early, and then its barrel rolled up.
It was a very big shunt we had, unfortunately, at Pukekohe. That was a bit of a damper to quite a good weekend. I had a bit of a run on the car in front and ended up going for a gap that wasn't there when he missed a gear. So, you know, straight away I was on my roof and going through the sand trap, and then, well, when it eventually finished, I got out of the car and looked around, and it was just that surprise of I'm in pit lane. It was pretty tough.
But Ash Blewett's sitting out this round, so qualifying on Saturday morning was an opportunity for somebody else to step up.
The big change for this season is the qualifying format, which sees 2 sessions, Q1, deciding the grid for race 1. Reid Harker and Michael Scott immediately were on the pace, with Harker taking pole on his 4th lap. Scott was just .008 behind. In fact, the top 9 drivers separated by under a second. In Q2, to set the grid for race 3, the fastest times happened on just the 2nd lap. Ryan Yardley dropping pole down to 1 minute 41.35, ahead of John Penny. Reid Harker 3rd, and rookie Brodie McConkey just .5 back in 4th place.
We were really disappointed after Pukekohe. Sort of went away scratching our head, didn't know whether it was a car, whether it was me, so it's good to come here. This weekend was sort of, and we were positive about it. We did some testing between Pukekohe and this round, and it's great to come back and be in P2.
Happy with 1st and 3rd. It puts us in a good position for the races to move forward in the 2nd one and hopefully hold the lead and take the win in the 1st race.
We had a reasonably good qualifying, new format which made it a bit interesting. But yeah, P5 for the 1st one and P1 for the last race on Sunday. So now we're at the right end, which is good.
With a return trip to America between rounds 1 and 2, one man that's done a lot of travelling to be here is Michael Scott.
Thanks to winning the Formula Ford Championship here in New Zealand last season, I got entry into the Mazda Road to Indy shootout over at Laguna Raceway. So there was 18 of us drivers from around the world that got this invitation, which happened just this week. It's been an incredibly busy schedule since Pukekohe with the big shunt, getting back to Christchurch and the study carrying on, and in preparation for Laguna, which I've just done, and now rush back, catch a flight overnight and drive here in the morning to get straight back in the 86. The beauty of this series is that all these cars are the same. So there's a little bit in setup, but really it comes down to the driver. So, you know, it doesn't really matter what car you got, you're in for a hunt.
Coming up on the Toyota 86 Championship, Race 1 action as the rain falls. And later, we meet the new Carevet Scholarship winner.
We have 3 races this weekend with race 1 over 8 laps, and it looks like the rain is on its way. Let's go to Jonathan Green with all the action.
The grid then for race 1 sees Reid Harker in pole position, alongside him Michael Scott. Then it's Penny and Lockwood on row 2, Yardley and Smith on row 3. Then the new boys Drew Ridge and Ben McDonald on row 4. Then it's McConkey and Short. Then Lightfoot and Milligan on row 6. Connor Adam, Tom Stokes, Jaden Ransley and Miles Cochran. No sign of Mount Tuhara today for the start of round 2 from Taupo. Reid Harker in pole position. Very, very wet conditions, and he slides off the line, not well. Good start from Matt Lockwood, and an even better start from John Penny. Penny already putting pressure on Harker down the inside. Scott's to the outside. Harker on board with him. He's got one to the outside, one to the inside, and he can't defend both and has to settle for second place as John Penny picks up the lead in treacherous conditions here at Taupo. Very wet indeed. Everybody safely and cleanly through the first corner. And there's Martin Short just ahead of Lightfoot, who goes wide. Jack Milligan just behind them, the youngster, who of course is teamed up with last year's Rookie of the Year, Ryan Yardley, and there he is, just behind Lockwood, trying to hold off the 2 Castrol Toyotas. Good start as we go on board with one of them, and that's the Aussie, the youngster, the 17-year-old, trying to get up on Yardley here, but goes wide and high. And he will lose that place, and he does so to Yardley. But a good effort by the young Aussie from New South Wales. Great to see so many Aussies coming over to New Zealand to challenge here in this series. Atrocious conditions as they head through the very fast turn 9 and out to the hairpin, led by John Penny, the former V8 man, who's used to these conditions and reveling in them. But the whole field on the full wet Michelins, and they're doing their job as Lockwood comes up the inside of Scott at the hairpin to go and challenge for 3rd place. And has he got it? Yes, he has. And, well, Scott on the outside trying to defend, but he can't do it, and it looks as though Lockwood's through, but now he's under pressure from Yardley. Ryan Yardley looking for a way past. Great racing here in the opening lap. And massive pressure for Lockwood as he's just got past Scott. Scott, though, is still there. And look, they're side by side. Oh, Yardley and Scott. Neither wants to give, and Yardley's through. Lockwood holds his place in 3rd. What a lap, and what a start. And John Penny leads the way here at Taupo. Penny yet to win in the series. He did the full season last year. Ash Blewett not taking part this weekend, but had 2 wins in the first round. Reid Harker winning the other race. And Harker looking for more points, but he didn't get the start off the line he wanted at all. And is now having to fight as we go back on board. This time with the number 99, Lighting Plus man, Martin Short, as he works that steering wheel as hard as he can, trying to chase down Brodie McConkey. And does he get up the inside on the infield? Yes, he does. Nicely done. And now he'll go in pursuit of Ridge if he can. But that was a nice overtake by the number 99, using the conditions and using his track knowledge well. But it really is precarious out there. They're almost on ice. I know they're all on wets, but it's still very, very slippy out there. Oh, and as I say that, through goes the number 14, and Ridge is out. The Australian rights himself and stays on the asphalt. Cochran on the number 11, he too spins at 9. And Miles Cochran backwards. And 2 cars going straight off in these conditions. Now we're on board with McDonald, number 35, Ben McDonald, he too gets it sideways. And look at this. Oh, graphic illustration of what it's like to be spinning out of control with all the cars around you. Very scary moment. But again, he rights himself and somehow keeps going. Meanwhile, back at the front, we've got a battle of the old V8 foes as John Penny and Lockwood are locked in battle. Just behind, Harker coming up to third place, challenging Yardley, who has to go wide. Michael Scott still in there. Good three-way battle for third place, this. Yardley gets hung out to dry for a moment, but sticks in there as we go on board with Scott. You can see his view from it. Not a lot of room to get through. And not a lot of visibility as Yardley pushes his way through again. Well, great stuff by the Rookie of the Year last year. Not intimidated at all by Reid Harker. Now Michael Scott wants a bit of the action as well. Scott having changed cars to Callum Quinn's old car that was a runner-up in the series last year. Scott having that big accident in round one. But A-OK as we go back with Harker, who takes the inside line and holds off Scott for now. Good battle this for third place, and look at that. Yardley is off into the distance very quickly, leaving Harker and Scott to battle it out for fourth place. So well done to the 18-year-old from Christchurch as we go back to the battle at the front. Penny not giving an inch. The conditions not getting any better, if not, they're getting worse. But Lockwood right there with Penny, pushing him round the circuit, trying to force him into a mistake, and that's good tactics. And these two will be reveling in this. Well, Lockwood not afraid of water. He owns a spa pool company, and he's reveling in these conditions, but look what he can see, absolutely nothing. Brilliant racing by these two, and he's going by the taillights at the moment as they go through the chicane, and Penny makes a mistake and onto the grass. Into the gravel he goes. It's over surely now for Penny, but it isn't. Somehow he regains his composure and keeps his foot in. Brilliant stuff. Lockwood, though, surely will challenge now. Matt Lockwood looks to the inside, looks to the outside, and that was brilliant defending by Penny and great composure by John Penny, who effectively is racing his home race here at Taupo, desperate to win for the first time out. And Lockwood, try as he might, just can't get by. Now he'll have to work on making Penny make another mistake if he can. But really, look at the slide again from Penny. He loses out this time, surely, and he does so. Keeps his foot in again and stays in second place. But Lockwood picks up the lead here in the closing stages of race one at Taupo. Here's another look at it. You can see, and if you look in the mirrors, Lockwood's done a quick glance and I'm sure a little bit of a wry smile. These two have fought each other many times before, but here comes Penny again. And they are touching for a moment. Nothing between them. Whoa, a little bit of a jink there as they're side by side in a drag race down towards the last chicane. Lockwood on the outside and Penny on the inside, but Lockwood's just got the advantage for now. But who's going to go through the chicane? The left-hander first. Into the braking point, it's Penny. But will he hold that position? Great racing. Lockwood still pushing on, he bounces over the curbs. Running out of time, Penny holding on. Great racing here from Taupo, round two. And we're getting a masterclass as Lockwood looks to the inside now to the outside. He tried that last time, it didn't work, and he hasn't pulled it off this time. Yardley still third. Penny doing everything he can to hold off Lockwood. And John Penny really putting the hammer down in the closing stages. Michael Scott and Reid Harker still battling. Harker tries to go through again and does so. Harker looking for points, as is Michael Scott. These two very much favourites for the championship overall. And they're in a real battle now, as is Lockwood again. As Matt Lockwood, look at the puddles. Lockwood all over the back of Penny, and he'll do what he did last time, which is try and force Penny into making a mistake. Easier said than done, though. Lockwood gearing up surely now in these closing stages, and Penny makes another mistake. Oh no, this time it's Lockwood. And there was a slight movement there from Penny as they went into 9, and I think that kind of put Lockwood off, and he spins around. Let's have a look. Yes, a little bit of a movement there from the leader, and Lockwood just gets sideways and then spins it round at 9, and that's a fourth gear corner. And Penny will now march on there, you see it. Well, big moment there for the placemakers, Matt Lockwood, but he recovers brilliantly, keeps on spinning. And now, surely, John Penny, coming out of the last chicane now, will take his first victory in the Toyota Finance 86 Championship here at Taupo. effectively his home race. There's the checkered flag. A brilliant race by John Penny, who takes victory here at Taupo. Second place goes to the youngster, 18-year-old Ryan Yardley. Reid Harker takes his second podium of the season in third, holding off Michael Scott. Great stuff, though, by John Penny. A brilliant race. Confirmation then of the race 1 results. John Penny with his first win in the series and the third winner in 4 races. Ryan Yardley second, Reid Harker third. Then it's Michael Scott, Martin Short fifth, Jack Milligan sixth, McConkey seventh, and Matt Lockwood recovered to 8th position.
John, we talked about the fast start. You got that, but man, you had to work for it.
Yeah, I did. Our car was really, really good at the start of the race, and I think that possibly towards the later part, the tyre pressures were too high, and that gave chance to Matt to catch us. But mate, what a race! It was awesome.
Matt, at one point you were a couple of seconds quicker than John when you tracked him down, and it was a great race.
Yeah, no, I had heaps of fun starting out at P4, so we had a bit of work to do, but the car had really good pace and feeling comfy in the car. Yeah, great battle with John, and then just sort of ran out of talent on the last lap, and around we went. But yeah, it was a good race.
Been out of the seat for a while and was itching to get back into something. Every year you sort of want to go racing, but we just didn't have the funds, so we sort of managed to scrape a bit of money together, and this class was getting really competitive and still is, and we thought it was just a good way to get into the series, into racing. The prize money that they had up on offer as well was obviously appealing, and yeah, it sort of just came about that way. I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is a form of arthritis, so both ankles, both knees and my back. I've had it for about 21 years now, so I'm used to it. You put up with the pain. I'm on some strong meds. But yeah, it does affect me. Some days are worse than others. When you're in the car, you sort of forget about it. If you do a long race, it does start to hurt, but otherwise it's not until you get out where you really feel the pain, yeah. I got asked to be an ambassador for Arthritis New Zealand 2010, I think it was, which has been great. Yeah, there's sort of a handful of us, sports people over the country, and yeah, we'd go to a few events for the kids and do a couple of speeches, and it's just good to be able to share your story with younger kids. I've met parents who have 2-3-year-olds with arthritis and scared and not really, knowing what it is or what to do. So I guess myself showing that you can do it, you just sort of got to push through and find a way is pretty cool, yeah.
Coming up, we meet scholarship winner Jack Milligan, and the sun is out for race 2.
The Kiavet Scholarship was introduced last season to bring young drivers into the Toyota 86 Championship. Ryan Yardley was the winner, and he made the most of it, becoming Rookie of the Year. This year, he becomes mentor to new scholarship winner Jack Milligan.
I guess last year I was kind of the second driver. Michael obviously had a lot more experience than what I did, so I knew that the deal was that I'd get a second year at it and I'd become the lead driver as such.
We applied for the scholarship. Obviously, it's a great scholarship to be involved in. I said a few guys that applied, and I just couldn't wait for it.
This season, expectations were, I wanted to be up the front, contending for the overall championship win. Last year was great winning the rookie. That was the goal last year, and the goal this year is to win the overall championship. So we started off well with a good round 1. So that is the aim.
My goal originally going into it was to win the rookie, and obviously to get in the top 10 was my first goal. Obviously, qualifying 4th, and it was a really good start. And we sort of stayed out of the carnage in the races, and yeah, had a top 6 result. So I was really pleased.
I think you know a lot more about the car and know a lot more how the car's going to handle on the tracks, and just understand the car is completely different to what I had beforehand. So just the knowledge of the car itself and how to actually drive on these things quick. So that's probably the main difference between season 1 and this season.
Obviously having Ryan in the two-car team, it's really good having his experience. You know, he's done it last year, and sort of I can compare myself to him, and then having Chris, you know, his level of experience is just, you know, really helpful to me, and sort of he knows and he's been there and he's done it, so it's been, you know, really helpful.
Now it's time for race 2, with the top 8 drivers from race 1 reversed on the grid. Can John Penny come through the field to get another win? Let's go to Jonathan Green to find out.
Reverse grid then for race 2 sees Matt Lockwood, who finished 8th, starting pole, and alongside him Brodie McConkey. Then it's Jack Milligan and Martin Short. On row 3 is Michael Scott and Reid Harker. Then it's Yardley and Penny on row 4. That should be a good battle. And then it's Jacob Smith, Drew Ridge, Mike Lightfoot, Ransley, Stokes, Adam Cockram, and at the back, Ben McDonald. Perfect conditions for race 2 then. Compared to race 1, a little bit windy as Lockwood, who finished 8th, somewhat luckily, will take the pole. McConkey alongside him in the Castrol Toyota. Side by side, the youngster in his first full year, coming out of Formula First. Harker to the outside in the number 4. Good start from Ryan Yardley in the Carevets car. But it is Lockwood who takes the lead. McConkey in second place, and oh, big crash! And that involves John Penny, Reid Harker involved, and Martin Short. 3 drivers involved in that incident. And would you believe it, Penny, who won race 1, is already out of race 2. Meanwhile, at the front, it's busy. And the 2 Carevets boys come together. Milligan getting amongst it. Great stuff. Jack Milligan, not afraid, and certainly learning from his more experienced teammate, Ryan Yardley, Rookie of the Year last year, and second in race 1. Good start by the Carevets boys then. Here's another look at that crash, and in fact it was 4 cars involved. Michael Scott also involved in the incident. Here's another look, and you can see mayhem ensuing. 4 cars all going onto the grass. Here's the look from Harker's position. He was hit early, and it is complete mayhem. Harker keeping his foot in. Here's Michael Scott. Look, he gets involved, and he does get touched, but look at that. That really is a case of getting away with it scot-free. Meanwhile, back at the front, Matt Lockwood leads and is pulling away at the front from McConkey. Meanwhile, it's side by side with the 2 Carevets boys, but Yardley picks up the position ahead of his teammate. So Ryan Yardley up to 3rd place now. Milligan still in 4th, but now being challenged by the number 27 on the inside now. Jacob Smith, runner-up in the Rookies Championship last year, and through nicely into 4th place. It's a little bit of oversteer, but controls it well. Now goes in pursuit of Ryan Yardley, his nemesis from last year. Smith, the top graduate in July from the New Zealand Elite Driver Academy, but now under massive pressure from Ridge, the Australian. Coming into the championship, the number 14 in the Castrol Toyota goes through for the Hawkwood Toyota team. And the 17-year-old from New South Wales in Australia, a former winner in Asia in Formula BMW, starting to make his name here in New Zealand. Great start for race 2 in perfect conditions. And now his teammate, Brodie McConkey, who started on the front row, is under pressure, still in 2nd place. But as you can see, as we go on board with Yardley, Yardley looking for a way past the man making his debut season. Yardley knows the track, knows the car well, and got good drive out of 9 now as they head towards the hairpin. He'll look to the inside, surely. He's trying around the outside, and here he comes to the inside now. Textbook stuff by Ryan Yardley. And he gives him plenty of room, does McConkey, and I think he kind of knew it was inevitable. Didn't want to get into that scrap right now. And Yardley now with some clean air between himself and Ryan Lockwood. Or has he? Because McConkey has got the slipstream and is still challenging in 3rd. McConkey tries to the outside, but he won't get through there. And sure enough, Ryan Yardley in the Carevets car, the number 18, holds on to 2nd place and now goes in pursuit of Matt Lockwood. Lockwood so unlucky in race 1. It was a brilliant display of racing by both the former V8 boys. And of course, Lockwood, a multiple V8 Ute champion here in New Zealand, as Harker goes up the inside. Neat manoeuvre by Reid Harker, but he's further back than he should be, Reid Harker. Started the season very brightly, hasn't had a good Taupo, just didn't have the wet setup that he wanted, and it's cost him, and he's having to fight through now. Michael Scott likewise having to do the same. He gets through on Lightfoot 2 and goes in pursuit. And Michael Scott, who was fastest in the first free practice of the weekend, just didn't get the qualifying he wanted, and he's been struggling a little bit, perhaps with this new car. And also the fact that he's just come back from Laguna Seca, where he was challenging for the Road to Indy prize, won by Oliver Askew. Great to see him, though, challenging for that as we go back on board with Scott as he tries to get past Lightfoot. Michael Scott, through he goes, nicely done. But a tough personal time as well for Michael Scott, and we wish him well to keep racing. Very, very impressive. And back with Matt Lockwood, who has increased that lead at the front. Oh, and Scott goes off. And just as he'd made a place, he's made a mistake, and Lightfoot's going to come by him again, and sure enough he does. And the Northland Toyota man has got some more work to do and a little bit of gravel to get rid of as he goes into turn 1. Oh, and then gets hit heavily. Oh, Ben McDonald in the number 35 probably didn't realise that, oh, well, that says the signal that Michael Scott still wants to be number 1. But here's what happened. Well, to be honest, McDonald was unsighted. I would have thought that Michael Scott was probably going a little slower than he expected, and now there's big damage also to Ben McDonald's number 35 car. And now Yardley, Ryan Yardley, is caught right up with Lockwood. So Lockwood looked as though he had this one in the bag, but Ryan Yardley's put in some excellent laps here in the closing stages of this one. And he's all over the back of Matt Lockwood. But I'll tell you one thing, Matt Lockwood does not want to lose this race, having lost out in race 1, having led for so much of it. Very carefully, I say that, he goes wide at 9. That's where he spun off in race 1, but you can tell that he's pushing, and Ryan Yardley's keeping him very honest indeed. Well, Yardley's already said many times to several journalists he wants to race in GTs and the big cars, and this is going to be a big scalp if he can get past Matt Lockwood, who's got loads of experience in the big heavy V8 cars. Ryan Yardley, like so many of these youngsters, choosing this 86 series to hone their racecraft and go on to either V8s, GTs, or possibly the Toyota Racing Series. But Lockwood comes out of the last corner and onto the main straight, neatly done, and takes the checkered flag. Ryan Yardley follows him home, and McConkey takes his first podium in 3rd. Confirmation of the results of race 2. A brilliant win for Lockwood, but Yardley takes the championship lead with that 2nd place. McConkey, a brilliant 3rd, his 1st in the series. Then it's Smith, Ridge, Reid Harker 6th, Jack Milligan 7th.
Matt, you said after race 1 you ran out of talent. It looks like it's returned.
Yeah, really happy with that. Reverse grid, so we're lucky to be off pole. But yeah, had a really good race, and Ryan obviously made his way through, and he was coming on hot. But yeah, happy to take number 1.
Ryan, your championship rival had a battle during the race. You were out the front getting good points.
Yeah, it was good to get out front. Other than the start looked pretty messy, so I was glad I got up the inside, got a good start, got the inside, and avoided all the carnage. So I just put my head down and tried to catch the front boys, and Matt had a little bit more pace than me, but no, it was a good race.
You had a good battle with championship front runner Ryan Yardley there?
Yeah, I was just letting him go just so he could help me catch the front guy because he's very experienced, so I was hoping that he could help me out there.
Coming up, Tom Stokes doubles his race experience during winter, and the rain is back for race 3.
Tom Stokes was a total motorsport rookie when he entered the championship last season, but he comes into this year with a lot more experience.
From the first season, it was quite an action-packed year because it was, of course, just jamming everything really into everything by the first race. So I had to learn everything from just basic racing lines and just all the way to basic car control, and helped a lot. I had Martin Short helping me and Neil Walport and a really good mechanical team, so I was happy with that. Yeah. endurance series. That was it was a great time. That all the racing of all the amazing cars out there, all the Trace family Motorsport Ferraris to all the Mustangs and everything. It was a great experience. Especially with these cars, I think a lot of it is just getting as much seat time as you possibly can, and that's why we did that series. What better to be in a car at an hour at a time, so. This year I want to try and sort of get out of the backpack where I was and start being a little bit more competitive and just start testing my racecraft and see what I can learn and just try and not cause too much damage, which somehow happened in the last race, but yeah, we'll try and forget about that and move on. But yeah, the car's all ready to go now, and yeah.
It's time for race 3 of the weekend. The grid for this race is set from part 2 of qualifying, so you'll see John Penny back up on the front row. And it's raining. Let's go to Jonathan Green for all the action.
The grid then for race 3 sees Ryan Yardley in pole position, and alongside him John Penny. Again, another big battle will ensue. Then it's Reid Harker and Brodie McConkey. Row 3 sees Jacob Smith and Matt Lockwood. That should be a good battle. And then on row 4, it's Drew Ridge and Mike Lightfoot. Then it's Scott and Short, Milligan Adam. Ben McDonald starts on the 7th row ahead of Stokes, Ransley and Cockram. Slippery conditions again here and very windy here at Taupo for the start of race 3. Penny on the left. Ryan Yardley in pole position, gets off the line well, but a brilliant start from the number 23 Castrol Toyota of Brodie McConkey, and good start from Reid Harker too up the inside as Lockwood tries to the outside. Harker dives into 2nd place behind the Cairvents car of Ryan Yardley, who leads this race. On board with Connor Adam for the first time. The youngster, first time in full-size car racing. And he sees in the rough and tumble already the number 9 from Auckland for BGW. But he's in the thick of it. Good lead group. Lockwood moves up a place, gets ahead of McConkey, who's still there in 4th place, but he's now being challenged. Yardley leads from Harker. Harker needing the points. And McConkey, the youngster, showing no respect for John Penny as he goes up the inside. Nicely done. He's full of confidence after that podium in race 2 and moves up to 4th place. A really good start by the number 23. He got off the line very well indeed. Everybody on wet tyres, you can see why. John Penny had thought about going on slicks, but I think everybody on the Michelin wets, which have done a brilliant job over the weekend. Plenty of grip out there despite the weather here at Taupo. And into the hairpin. Smith on board the number 27. He now challenging Penny. Comes alongside the number 3. But can't get the drive as they go down the back straight. Not a bad weekend for Smith. He's shown a few signs that he's got the same kind of form as he had in the middle and end of last season. Penny now challenging McConkey, and that's a good position to be in as he heads towards the left-hander. And surely Penny will go through, and he does. Well, Penny, of course, winner of race 1 in similar conditions. And he was brilliant, quite brilliant in race 1. He and Lockwood in an amazing, titanic battle throughout the race. Won eventually by John Penny. And now Reid Harker getting pushed by the man who pushed Penny all the way. And that, of course, is Matt Lockwood. Now, Harker, as I said earlier, needs the points this weekend. He's been a winner already this season and was challenging for the lead. McBlewett not taking part this weekend. Reid Harker must have looked at this weekend and thought, this is my opportunity, but it hasn't turned out that well for Reid Harker. Complained about getting the wrong setup for the wet. Let's hope he's got it right for race 3, but he's under massive pressure at the moment from Lockwood as we are on board with the number 7. He goes up the inside, and Harker will keep his foot in. They're side by side, but Lockwood's got the line, and it takes 2nd place. Nicely done by the placemaker's man. And now he'll have to try and see if he can chase down Ryan Yardley, as Yardley chased him down last time. Still very wet offline, though, as you can see, as they go through 9. And that's where there's been several spins this weekend. So they've got to be careful as Penny now challenging Harker, who seems to have made a mistake because he's dropped back a bit. The 3rd place man, Ryan Harker, and high and then low. Brilliantly done by Penny. But Harker in trouble again. And up to 3rd goes John Penny. There goes the leader, Ryan Yardley. Here comes 3rd place down the back straight. And there you can see the number 4, Reid Harker, now under pressure from Brodie McConkey, who's got the better line. And you can see visibility not good, but McConkey now attempting to go Up another place, and he does so, and gets behind Penny. Nicely done by the youngster. It's been a great weekend. Lightfoot now on the charge too, and Reid Harker is in all sorts of trouble. Lightfoot now challenging. He comes alongside Harker as they come down the main straight. Penny still holding off McConkey as they go into turn 1. Just behind is Jacob Smith in the number 27 Hamilton Asphalt car. He goes high and wide, but he's got plenty of grip from that asphalt that time, and swing shots it around behind Lightfoot. Nicely done by the youngster Jacob Smith. Very competitive series for sure this year, and Reid Harker knows he's up against it for sure this weekend. He's just not turned his way, and he's now fighting with McConkey, who is having his first season in '86. And it's a bright start by the Castrol Toyota man. Reid Harker needs to get past as we go back with Michael Scott, who's also had a disappointing weekend, suffering a little from jet lag. He's been halfway around the world and got back in time to take part this weekend, having done the Road to Indy shootout in Laguna Seca. Great experience. But Michael Scott back in the rough and tumble of New Zealand motorsport. And such is the quality of motorsport here at the moment. The likes of Drew Ridge from Australia just behind in the number 14 car, attracted to come to this series. And a lot of Aussies really looking very closely at this as an opportunity. And Drew Ridge has taken it with both hands on the steering wheel and done a brilliant job in the first couple of rounds as we go back on board down the back straight with Lightfoot. Now, under pressure is Ryan Yardley. What a success story the young 18-year-old from Christchurch is. He'll be heading to Christchurch in January for the next round, but he'd love to finish this weekend with both a win and the championship lead, but Lockwood will have none of it. And Lockwood comes alongside and has got the better line into turn 1 and takes the lead, does Matt Lockwood. Placemaker's man takes the lead ahead of the Care Vets man as this battle between these two has raged on all weekend long. And Lockwood really now starting to challenge for his own position in the championship hunt after what has been a superb Taupo weekend for him. Just that one mistake in race 1. And here's a replay of Reid Harker coming onto the main straight, challenging for 4th place now against Brodie McConkey. Comes alongside, he's got the better line into turn 1. Nicely done, 2nd gear, and cleanly through. Harker then makes up a place and moves it up to 4th place now overall. Lightfoot under pressure now from Michael Scott in the number 5 Northland Toyota. Oh, and very wide goes Scott. Michael Scott doing a tremendous job. That big crash, of course, last time out in round 1, and then has picked up a new car, Callum Quinn's old car. Quinn, of course, going on to V8s, runner-up in the series last year, Callum Quinn, big success story. As we go back with Ridge from Australia. Been a good weekend for him too. The conditions not easy for anyone, and the youngsters especially, perhaps using wet weather Michelins for the first time, really getting their head round it. Jacob Smith under pressure from that man Ridge. And the Aussies have certainly come, not to make up the numbers, but to score big points and try and challenge here in New Zealand. Perhaps motivated by Van Gisbergen's efforts in Australia. The Aussies are coming here now to try and win in New Zealand. On board now with Jack Milligan. He's right behind Smith. All over the back of Jacob Smith at the moment as they go through the infield section. And there's been some good opportunity through this midfield section, especially here into this right-hander. There is an overtaking position, and he's going for it. Just as I say that, brilliantly done by the number 17. He's learnt well, hasn't he? And Ryan Yardley, his mentor, teammate, even though he's younger, obviously Yardley just a little bit more experience and here to help the scholarship man. And Milligan learning quickly, very good indeed to get past Smith there. Race 3 here at Taupo. Next it's Christchurch. Still a long way to go before the season concludes in March 2017. And all of these drivers getting better and better as the series goes on. And even the likes of John Penny and Matt Lockwood learning how to drive these cars fast, because You have to have a deft touch. You can't muscle them around like a V8. You have to get it right. You have to be precise. And that's why Ash Blewett was so successful last year. Now, what can Ryan Yardley do to stop Matt Lockwood? Not a lot so far, but he's right there, trying to force Lockwood into a mistake. We go back now with Reid Harker, who's all over the back of Penny. Harker needing the points and needs to get past Penny. Penny now challenging him in the title chase as well. Harker goes to the outside. It's a dry line out there. There might be a possibility round the outside. Has Harker done it? No, he hasn't. Penny holds the line. Good defensive driving by John Penny, but you can see Harker's right there, and he's touching the back of Penny. Has he got him? Well, that was a tricky move by Harker. Penny will not be happy about that, I'm sure. Either way, Harker's through. Will Penny dive back? I'm sure he will try, that's for sure. Harker's made it stick, even though he had to muscle his way through, but you can see the gap he's got to the first and second place battle, but Harker now a solid third place here in the closing stages of race 3 here at Taupo. Once again, the Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park here at Taupo, giving us some really entertaining racing. Now, can Lockwood hold off Yardley? Yardley determined to get past in the number 18 Corvette's car. Time running out as they head out of the hairpin. You can see the slide on from Lockwood. He's in trouble, and Yardley knows it. Through the gearbox he goes. 4th gear now, you can see it on the dash. Motec dash showing you exactly what gear he's in, up to 5th now. Looks to the inside, this is his best opportunity, but I don't think he's close enough to challenge. And Lockwood's gonna hold on through the dry line. Yardley has no choice but to follow him home now. Lockwood's got this, one more corner to go. And Matt Lockwood wins for the second time here this weekend at Taupo, taking the checkered flag. Yardley again follows him home in second place. Penny in trouble, Scott all over the back of him. This is the battle for 4th place as Reid Harker comes to the line in 3rd. Harker gets to the podium, and Penny just about holds on for 4th. Confirmation of the race 3 results. Back-to-back wins then for Matt Lockwood. A great weekend. Ryan Yardley increases his lead at the front with that 2nd place, with Reid Harker getting on the podium again in 3rd. Then John Penny 4th, Michael Scott 5th, Milligan, Ridge, Jacob Smith in 8th position.
Matt Lockwood, not a bad day's work.
Yeah, 2 wins, really happy. It was we weren't quite sure what to do with tyres, and it was a late call that it got declared wet, and yeah, had a great start, got into the lead, and yeah, really good race.
Ryan, a great race with Matt there. You came back at the end. Were you conserving your tyres early on?
Yeah, I didn't really know how hard to push that in the mid part of the race, so when he got past me, I knew I could chase him a little bit and try to keep the tyres cool enough to have another go at the end, so I did that, but just didn't quite have enough on that last lap.
So with 2 rounds gone of the Toyota 86 Championship, it's Ryan Yardley who leads the way with 380 points, 31 points ahead of Reid Harker. Matt Lockwood moves now to 3rd place with 315. Then it's Michael Scott, Jack Milligan, good start by him in 5th place. Then John Penny in 6th.
That concludes round 2 of the Toyota 86 Championship, and Ryan Yardley will head into Christmas as the championship leader. Round 3 is in January and joins the Toyota Racing Series at the Mike Perro Motorsport Park in Christchurch. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you there.